Daily engine checks. Okay, so we have engine coolant header tank here, and that should be up to, there is a level marker on here actually, but it's just above the halfway point in the expansion tank, and I would say that that was the correct amount really. I think as long as you've got some coolant in here that's showing in the expansion tank, then you're going to be fine. I wouldn't certainly top it up to the top. You often see a little mark or a pen mark on the side of the expansion bottles. Owners make their own little marks on the level that their engines seem to like to run to. I would have said if the coolant's halfway up the bottle, you're doing quite well. So, dipstick on the right hand side of the engine, starboard side of the engine, and then we've got the weed filter, which is also on the starboard side of the engine. That's a clear basket. You can see any weed that accumulates in there. Just be careful as you undo this. There's a rubber donut ring around the top here, and that's loose and can fall into the bilge. You'll have fun and games fishing that out. So with the engine running, you'll see water bubbling in the weed filter basket at the top here anyway. So and also you'll have it coming out of the exhaust. So if it's coming out of the exhaust, then it's coming in through the seacock, through the weed filter, and circulating around the heat exchanger in the engine and cooling the engine. If it's not coming out of the exhaust, then it's probably not coming in through the weed filter. So that's a good time to check your weed filter basket and just make sure that that it is free of weed. A couple of other noticeable things in the engine space: your calorifier, which is on the port side of the engine room, domestic water pump, and then two lots of shower pumps. I'll just move across here. You can see one forward, one aft, and they have an adjustment. The two boxes on the front there are time adjustments, so when the shower pump's operated, you can adjust the length of time that the pump runs for. In the bottom of the bilge here, seacock, which is insulated. It was insulated by the previous owners, just wrapped up, and that is turned on as requested. That's the toilet outlet seacock. And then in the bottom here, the black switch, a valve that you see there, is the toilet diverter valve. So it's set to sea at the moment, and the seacock is open as you'd asked me to. Right, under the aft cabin berth is the aft toilet diverter valve, and then again that's set to sea as requested, and the outlet seacock, which is turned on. So this is in the aft starboard corner of the boat, underneath the berth in the aft cabin. Aft toilet compartment and the electric toilets. So the top button here flushes the toilet and just draws water through and into the tanks. The button below here fills to the left, flushes to the right as an individual process. So I should think what you do most of the time is just push the top button, which flushes the toilet through. But beside here, this is the shower pump. If I just push that, it'll run for a few minutes, I guess, depending on how it's set in the engine space. So the radiator here, this is a heated towel rail. That runs when the heating system is turned on. And at the same time, of course, the heating system is heating your domestic water. There's a little thermostatic valve on the bottom here. I always warn people really just to be careful with them, because of course they're right next door to the toilet. So it is possible to turn these things right up, and they get bloody hot. So you know, just make sure that the thermostatic valve is turned down, or turned relatively low as opposed to right up hot. Otherwise, you'll scorch yourself when you sit there of a morning. Here we go. The pump's just turned itself off. So forward toilet is manual. I'm sure you've come across these before. Jabsco toilet. The little switch on the back there sets the mode of the toilet. So to the left hand side, you're drawing water in from the river and flushing it through the toilet bowl. And when you read the manuals on these, you're meant to do that before you use the toilet. So pump a few times to put water in the bowl, just a couple of times. Do what you're going to do, and pump through. Flick across to the right hand side, and empty the bowl. Toilet tank gauge here in the forward toilet compartment. This is for the holding tank in the forward end, and the button underneath there again is for the shower pump. I'll just push that, and that will run for a few minutes. As you know, depending on how long it's been set for in the engine space. Again, you have a heated towel rail in here with the thermostatic valve on the bottom. Not as much of an issue in this toilet compartment, but still they can get pretty hot, and they should just be adjusted carefully. Forward toilet seacock inlet, which is turned on, and that's under the floor in the galley.